Hello everyone out there who's watching this video. My name's Anna and this is my channel. As this is the very first long video on this channel, I want to introduce myself and maybe tell you a little bit about my story, about my pronunciation journey and how I got here. And also I'm going to talk about two very important things that you have to know if you're working on your accent now. So let's get started. So first, let me tell you about why this channel could be useful for you. In a nutshell, here we're going to talk about how you could practice American accent on your own without a teacher, what you have to pay attention to. I'm going to tell you about the most common mistakes that Russian-speaking students make. And of course, I'm going to talk about my life, about my pronunciation journey, how I started, and how I got to where I am today. So the plan for today is, number one, I'm going to tell you a very short story of my life, of how I started my pronunciation journey. Two, we're going to talk about why it's so hard for you to pronounce long sentences, why your tongue always gets stuck somewhere along the way. And number three, we're going to talk about one of the most common mistakes that people make. So here's my story. I started learning English when I was 8. So that was the second grade at school. And the first year I really loved the language. I enjoyed it. I adored it. It was fun. But the next year something happened to our teacher. She was a little bit more aggressive. I just couldn't stand it and I started hating the language. And only in the 8th grade, when I started rewatching Supernatural series, I realized that I just know a couple of words in English and my favorite characters, my favorite actors speak the language that I don't know. I remember that it was a real game changer. I was like, I don't want to watch my favorite series in Russian. I really want to watch it in English. I want to understand every single thing they're saying in their interviews. And that was weird because here I am in the 8th grade. I can say absolutely nothing. And I realized that I want to speak. So I started doing every single homework. I remember back then in the 9th grade, I took part in some contest. I think we had to read some poems or something, and I won. Can you imagine that? Here I'm going to post the video of how I was speaking back then.
Mirror, mirror, by the sea, tell me, what do you truly think? Am I fat or am I thin? Will I lose or should I win? Am I small, perhaps too tall? Are my ears a bit too small? Is my nose exactly right? Do I have an alibi? Am I great or do I stink? Mirror, mirror, by the sea.
As you can hear, my pronunciation wasn't bad at all. It was very good for a person who'd been learning English for just 2 years. Then I entered the university and I was studying English there, English and German. And yeah, here I am today, 25 years old, speaking the language that I love, adore, and I can't even imagine my life without this language. I can't actually tell you some success story of how my accent was terrible and then in a few years it became perfect. No, as you can see, even in the 9th grade, I had a pretty good accent. I've always had a pretty good ear because I am not tone deaf when it comes to music, and I can hear all the details when people make mistakes or when I make mistakes. So it's never been a problem for me. I think I was just developing this skill for many years. That's why this is how I got here. Well, it was my little story, and if you're interested and you want to know more, maybe you have questions about my journey, you can leave a comment below. Now let's start talking about the two mistakes that a lot of Russian-speaking students make. So here's a question that I get asked a lot. If you're practicing your accent now, I'm sure as hell that you sometimes get stuck on one or two words in a sentence, especially if it's a long sentence. So what can you do here in order to make stuff easier for yourself? The problem is that when you speak, when you see a sentence that you have to repeat beautifully, you stop thinking about the meaning of the sentence. You stop visualizing what's happening in the sentence, and you just start repeating the sounds. This is why your tongue gets stuck. Let's take the sentence. Last night I went to the store and I only bought chocolate, and I'm so happy about it. I'm so proud of myself that I didn't buy a cake. So here's the thing. Last night I went to the store. If you start repeating the sentence without imagining, just visualizing the situation, you're probably going to get stuck there. It actually works with every single language. If I start repeating something, even in Russian, without thinking about what I'm talking about, or if I don't visualize the situation, I get stuck. You have to actually imagine, at least a little bit, how you went to the store, how you took this chocolate. When you see the sentence, instead of saying, last night I went to the store and only bought chocolate and I'm so happy about it, instead of that, try to visualize. Yes, you're going to speak a little slower because you're visualizing, but this is what we want. We want you to sound natural and not fast. So, for example, you can close your eyes. Imagine how you're walking in the store and looking for this, I don't know, looking for the shelves with the chocolate. So you're like, last night, I went to the store and I only bought chocolate and I'm so freaking happy about it. I could have bought cake too, but I didn't. But of course, if you just imagine the situation, it's not going to work. You have to practice this little part, the difficult part. For example, go to the store, go to the. It should be easy for your tongue. If this part wasn't clear and you want to know more, just let me know about it in the comments, okay? The second thing that I'm going to talk about today is such a huge problem. It's such a huge problem. And almost all of my students have been through this or are still struggling with it. So here's the thing. When you just start thinking that you want to sound better, that you'd like to improve your accent, the first thing that comes to your mind is that you want to speak faster. So do my students. They tell me something along the lines of, I want to speak faster because I'm so slow and I think I need to speed up. But when we start working, I make them slow down. This sounds really weird, but it actually makes a lot of sense. When Russian speakers speak English, and when their English is pretty good, I'm talking about B2, C1, and so on. When a person with this level of English decides to work on their accent, they're usually really fluent and very fast. They speak so fast that in order to improve their accent and sound more American, they have to slow down. If you listen to me, you're going to notice that I speak pretty slowly. I'm not rushing into the next sentence. But what actually builds this melody, this beautiful American melody that you hear when you're listening to your favorite actors, singers, whoever, is that these people, they pronounce some parts of the sentence very quickly, and they slow down on the most important words.
What could Jim have said to make my dad want to leave my mom? And at what point in our marriage is he going to say it to me?
Yeah, what do you need? If I don't make it.
If you don't walk out that door, I'm going to shoot you.
That's how their speech becomes very clear and beautiful, and you can focus on the main words. When you rush into the next sentence, and what most people do, they don't even make a pause between the sentences, you kind of make it all complicated because you don't give the time to your partner you don't give them time to understand what you're talking about and just catch the main phrases. This is what I want you to work on and focus on. I really hope that the things that I said were clear. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.